Hello everyone, welcome to another rapid speedrun episode as we play Mr. ZDSP 1345 who starts with B4, the Orangutan Opening. So we're just gonna play our favorite pawn move, the best pawn move, E5, E4, E5. The King's pawn is the best pawn move to get in as soon as it's available. He fianchettos and attacks the pawn. I'm just gonna develop and take the free pawn offered. Notice when he takes my free pawn, that's not developing. It's moving the same piece twice. I developed and took a pawn. He's moving the same piece twice and taking a pawn. Right? And he'll have to move it again to go back. So big difference. That's why I'm letting him take a central pawn for a flank pawn. Because his is going to take 3 turns in total. Mine will take 1 or 2. So right now this is hanging. So we need to cover that. Let's develop and prepare castling. We always have knight c6 to hit the bishop. So first he hits our bishop, which makes sense. He doesn't have a b pawn to keep kicking it. So you could stay on either diagonal. I'm going to stay on this diagonal as there's no b4 ever. And he goes back before I even have a chance to hit it, which is fine. In that case, I'm not going to commit my knight or my pawn. I'm going to just castle and stay flexible. And look at his position. Nothing moved but the bishop. We're castled with 2 pieces out. So this whole b4 thing is like, why are you playing gimmicks, right? So he goes knight f3. Simple developing move. I definitely want to create my pawn presence. If I go 2, I get control over e4 and space. If I go 1, I can stifle his pieces, namely his knight, although that's hardly necessary. So let's go d5. I like to create a pawn duo in the center, so I'm thinking d5, c5. He moves his pawn 1 and opens up his bishop, but it's not going anywhere, it doesn't threaten anything. I think now is a great time to get in c5, creating a strong pawn presence, and he tries to break it down with c4. I mean, I'm in a much better position to go to war with my pieces and my king safe, so I don't mind if things open up. I don't mind no matter what. I don't want to take and help develop his bishop, right? Although open d file is kind of nice. So if I just develop takes, no, this has to be good for me. So I'm going to ignore him and develop. Maybe I'll goad him into trying to win a pawn. His rook would be hanging in the corner though, so that's weird. And even if he gets to win a pawn somehow, which I don't think he can, I would get this nice long bishop, long diagonal bishop. So I would do it maybe for a pawn, because then I have the only dark square bishop aiming at his king. I think I could work with that for sure. But as it stands, he didn't develop his knight. His rook will be unprotected if he gives up the bishop. So I don't see how he can really target d5 by taking the knight. So he just does a modest developing move. Fine. Makes sense. But now, because we have knight support, we do have the option of d4, which we didn't have last turn. Because if he takes, we can take. And that's just a strong pawn in his position. So I'm going to do that. Try to get a structural advantage right now that can last the rest of the game, keeping his d pawn from going very far. So if he can only go d to d3, he doesn't have a lot of space. This acts as like a wedge pawn. He ignores me. That's also fine, except for the fact that the queen supports the pawn, and I can push one more time. His bishop has nowhere to go, right? So he can only try this sacrifice, trying to get our queen away, deflection. So he gets a piece, we get a piece. He gets a queen, we get a queen, and we get a queen for ourselves. He then has to take the pawn, we take a piece. So it doesn't work. Also, you can take back with the G pawn and just not go down that line, and it's still trapped. It does make your king a little weaker, but he won't have a dark square bishop. His queen's hardly coming here soon, and you'll be up a piece. However, I kind of like the other line because it involves being up a piece and forcing the queen trade, and we know how that changes the logic of the position in our favor since we're up a piece. So he probably wasn't expecting this intermezzo. This probably takes him by surprise. And now he has no options. It's not like you can move the queen or anything because it's a double attack, and I get a queen when I take the thing. Okay, so now we're just up a bishop for a pawn. I don't have to worry about queen counterplay. His d pawn's no longer backwards. He can finally try to push it. But everything else is a moot point now because the game's not even. We're up a piece. And now we'll just force trades and end the game as fast as possible. Okay, so he moves the pawn 1. I'm just going to develop, connect my rooks, and pin the knight so I get in a trade for sure. He also can't develop his other knight easily because it's kind of in the way of stuff. But what else is he going to do? Lift his rook? I mean, he could try this, but it's not good. Nothing he has is good though. When no moves are good when you're down a piece and you can't complicate matters. If you have a move that just creates chaos, maybe that's worthy, but otherwise there's just no point. It's like you see he moves his knight, but we just take it, guaranteeing a trade, and then we take this, guaranteeing more trades, mess up his position. We can improve our knight with a double attack. Like, it's just too easy. There's nothing to think about. What was that? The game plays itself. So he defends one threat. Oh no, my thing got stuck. Now I have to hold down left click so it doesn't let go on a random square until it comes back. Oh my god. Hold on. Where was it? Okay, so I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, we take the free pawn. He stacks up. I mean, we could do the same. It's all the same. Okay, so now that he just hangs a rook because he attacks our knight. Do we have an intermezzo? No, knight check. Okay. Oh, we actually. Oh no, what am I saying? So okay, so now we're just up a rook, but he'll still play on. Um, I guess if we just eat his whole army, he might resign. So let's start doing that. Let's take our most mobile, active piece, and let's zoom it across the board, eating as much stuff as we can. I mean, is this guy for real? Okay, unfortunately, I don't have the checkmate that I want, so I'll just get another queen. But let me cut his king off first. I'll just cut it off so it's stuck on these two rows. That way when I get a queen, it'll just be an easy ladder mate. I'll just put it here. Why can't I highlight? Oh, here, and then here. Don't know what you're doing, guy, but none of this works. Mostly because you're down a rook. So let's cut him off once more. Now he has nowhere to play, and there we go. What? So how is it resigns now, but when you have those two extra pawns, like, you see how they're delusional? They delude themselves into thinking that somehow that could be a queen one day, or like that somehow this mass can do something. But just count. Even if I didn't have a rook, you still don't have more stuff than me. So how can it work? But in any case, let's go through the game. Orangutan, we have zero zero inaccuracies, zero blunders, but one mistake. It's bringing us down to 97. So we'll get to that. So we develop and center for free. And usually it's almost impossible for move 1 for black to be for free. But e5 is somehow for free because this pawn's hanging. That's crazy. So don't play this from white. Free stuff, developing. Development and king safety. Force move. King safety, development. Center, development. Center, better development. And this was my one mistake of the game. You know how I put the knight out here and then next move I pushed, and when I pushed I said, now we can push, whereas last turn we couldn't. Apparently you can, and it's the best move. I thought if we push and he takes and we take and he takes, rook e1, bishop e2. Well, why does the engine? I'm missing something. So let's see. We push, he takes. What am I missing? I'm missing bishop g4. So we don't take back because then he can go down that line, which looks good for him. So we pin the knight, so we're re-threatening to take. But then he's going to do something with that pawn, probably. And if he does and you give him the rook check and he blocks, how do you take advantage? You mess up his structure and go knight h5. This looks really good. I mean, it's minus 3.7. That's totally crushing, totally overwhelming. Yeah. Yeah, this is rough. Okay, so we missed it. You could have played d4. And even if he takes and you don't play that move and you just give the check, you see it's weird. If you give the check first and go for the pin, it's not as strong. He can just castle. But if you give it a pin and he breaks it, why is this good? Every line has like its own little nuance. But the bottom line is his position's weak. It's loose. His king's in the center. It's causing him problems. And so fine. I didn't play this move now. Fine. It is better. I just played development in center, keeping an advantage for black, but missing a pretty dynamic and strong move. I mean, I was looking at it. It's not like it was some crazy thing I can't understand. I just wanted to prepare it with the knight first. Sometimes they don't, moves like this don't need more preparation. It's hard to tell sometimes. Okay, and he makes the most natural developing move, defending the knight to prepare castling, and it goes from minus half a pawn better for black to minus 2.5, just totally winning. And that's how crazy chess can be. And since we already got past our one mistake of the game, the rest of it was pretty perfect in how we managed to take advantage. Now we do push past. I see and understand that I'm completely winning if I can push because I have a positional crunch now. Because he was late to the party with the c-pawn, allowing me to push past, and if he takes, I maintain that bind. So he castles, and it doubles in evaluation to minus 4.2 because he loses a piece. He didn't have any good alternatives. If I just show you an example, if you try to take, I'll take. Now you can't develop your knight. You'll end up going d3 one day after you castle, and it's like weird Benoni it resembles the space gaining aspect of the Benoni from the other side. Um, and although you're not really up stuff, it's positionally really easy for black and obviously really bad for white. His pieces don't have any mobility, forward jumps. Your pieces are very active. They're going to have easy prospects, easy jumps, and mostly just your central space advantage is just giving you like a strategic win. That's what's the important part to understand about d4. So we play it. He castles, hangs a piece. Now you could go down any line, but it turns out that the absolute strongest is the one we went down. They're all winning. But we go down this fancy one that forces the queens off the board, and it's just -5. So now we just develop for free because trades are wins. Free stuff because trades are wins. Free stuff because trades are wins. Improve your piece for free. Double threat. Free stuff. Free develop. Reinforce. Free stuff. Force move. And the game is over. I'm not going past this. We're up a rook. If you really can't win up a rook, just contact me on Discord. I will teach you. I will give you free lesson. Um, Good luck in your chess and goodbye.